Hello and Shabbat Shalom to you. Hope that you are excited about letting go of the previous week and moving into the sweetness that is Shabbat in just a few hours. We will be able to spend together. We continue in the book of Deuteronomy this week, the 37-day-long speech that Moses gives to the Israelites with the Torah portion called Ki Tetzeh. When you go out, and it is filled with all kinds of interesting details about sort of the rules that are in place for when we go out into the world and how we should behave ourselves. And one of the really, really cool things that, by the way, has a little tiny bit in this Torah portion and then expands and explodes almost in Jewish text through the Mishnah and the Talmud and through even past the Talmud into different commentaries. And that is about lost objects. This week's Torah portion speaks about lost objects and the details that exist and the sort of rules of engagement regarding lost objects. Not only when you realize that you've lost something, but also when, of course, you find something, and the particular details on how we should behave as Jews in regards to these objects that we lose versus objects that we find. And just to give a couple of details of the nuances that really will eventually expand from this Torah portion, the conversations about all kinds of objects. For instance, if we find $1 or a quarter or a nickel, we sort of feel like we might be able to pick it up and keep it. It's very difficult to identify a quarter or $1 and say, that's my dollar or that's my nickel. It's much more complicated, by the way, if there's a ring that we find on the floor and it's engraved. It even gets more complicated and maybe even more simplistic if we find a wallet, for instance, that has someone's name and address in it and a phone number. Maybe we find someone's cell phone, which maybe we can't unlock, but there are clues to it. And so there are the rules of engagement that we have to deal with, that the Torah portion teaches us about how do we encounter these lost objects, and then what's our obligation in those situations. So if I lose something, I would hope that someone is out there concerned about me losing something, particularly if it seems valuable. Maybe a beautiful watch that has an engraving on it. Maybe so even the rabbis go into conversations about even nearly simple objects that are arranged in a certain way might be special, meaning like bales of hay or even stacked coins, right? If coins are just sprayed everywhere, then maybe we can just pick them up. But if there are a variety of stacked coins somewhere, then maybe someone was just stacking them. And so that puts us in this engagement of lost and found. And so I think that's what that's really doing, is about reminding us about our responsibility of community. And so on this Shabbat, not only do I hope that we'll engage in this lost and found in a very cautious way, but also appreciate each other and our community, and know that I would hope that someone in my community would be looking for something if I lost it, as I would then go out of my way to look for something that I found and think that maybe someone was also feeling a loss of an object. So it's that balance in our community. So I hope that we'll have a community-filled Shabbat where we're thinking about this. We'll see you soon in a couple of hours, 6:30 for our service, and then tomorrow morning at 8:30 for our service and Torah discussion about lost and found and the very cool, intricate details. Shabbat Shalom.